I am the favorite ex-wife.
She's finally made it.
Hello everyone and welcome to Happily Ever Reality. Today we are talking about Sister Wives Season 19, Episode 11. This episode is titled The 11th Hour. I just finished watching it and I have to tell you guys, I'm just going to say this right away. I thought this was a pretty good one. I have been a bit disappointed this season. I felt like it was a little bit dull. This episode seemed to pick things up a bit. And based on the teaser at the end of this episode, it looks like the future ones might be a bit better as well. So I'm sort of looking forward to next week. Anyway, let's get started. Let's talk about what happened this past Sunday. I am going to recap the way I have recapped these last few weeks. Instead of trying to go in sequence that we see things on the show, I'm going to talk about the main people in the episode. And this time it was Christine and Meri. Now that I think about it, I believe that was who it was last week as well. They're the two that have the most going on at this point. Anyway, let's start out with talking about Christine. The show starts out with Christine and David having a get-together with their kids. The main goal is to tell them about the proposal. There is a part of this where Peyton does a confessional and he jokes about how Christine wants them to act surprised. But because she is such an open book, they already know. So they're just going to pretend that they're surprised that this is happening. It's sort of like how we're supposed to watch this and be entertained by it, even though we've already seen the whole wedding happen. When it comes to the kids, Christine says that they are meshing together well. I have to admit, I really enjoyed David's kids during the wedding special. I think they would be a nice addition to the show, and we're going to need more people. If this show is going to continue on, we're going to have to add more elements to it, so I think David's kids would be great. I don't see why they can't be on the show with the Brown children, specifically if we're seeing them sort of come together as one family. Honestly, nothing in this part of the show surprised me. The only thing that stood out was a moment where Aspen mentions that seeing Christine so happy with David has made her realize how unhappy Christine was when she was with Cody. In the last episode, it was brought up that Christine is sort of evolving into this new person, and I think there is some truth to that, but I also wonder, are we just seeing Christine as a happy person? I mean, she's changed. Is it all that she's evolving, or is some of it just really being happy and being in a good place instead of sitting around being depressed, waiting for Cody to spend time with you and give you attention? After that part of the show ends, we see Christine later, and this time it is because Janelle is coming over to her house. Janelle is going to be meeting David for the first time. David isn't there when Janelle arrives, so the ladies take some time to cook together and they discuss Coyote Pass. Janelle tells Christine about the conversation with Meri and how she had to tell Meri that she wasn't the one who controlled the money. So she's telling Christine this, and of course TLC puts in a confessional where Cody says that the wives remember Janelle controlling it, but really he was involved. He was guiding it, but ultimately everyone had access to the accounts. I feel like I can see where this is headed. They remember Janelle controlling it, but that wasn't true. He didn't control it either. He guided it, but everyone could access it. He is going to start trying to shift this blame away from himself, and if he can include every single other person, he is going to do it. At least that is my take on this. During a confessional, Janelle says that Cody likes to attack people in an area that is important to them, and that's something we've seen on the show. Janelle brings up that Cody saying he wasn't attracted to Christine was because that was an insecurity for her. You guys, Cody responds to this, and I'm going to put the clip in here so that you can hear it. I just thought this was crazy.
I told Janelle that I wasn't attracted to Christine when I was moving my stuff out of Christine's house into Janelle's house. That was a private conversation.
Seriously? Do you guys think he doesn't remember that he wrote about this in a book? And then it was discussed on the show and it was discussed during tell-alls? Did he forget that? We all know that he wasn't attracted to her when he met her. And I don't know. It's just really wild to me because Cody says so much stuff on the show. Why would he think that was private? And he also told Christine that he didn't want to be intimate with her anymore. And then it was brought up on the show. We all know what happened. I don't know why he's saying it was a private conversation. He has no problem saying rude stuff publicly at all. Anyway, let's get back to the property issue. Janelle says that Cody is trying to blame the financial issues on her because this is stuff that's important to her. So she's discussing it and they're going back and forth like TLC does, like they're doing the clips of all the people, and there ends up being a confessional with Meri. And she says that Robin and Cody are telling her one thing and Janelle is saying another. And she doesn't think that any of them are being 100% truthful. I have to tell you guys, I was really disappointed and I don't know why. I got to see how Meri treated Janelle when Janelle went over to her house. I shouldn't have been surprised by Meri saying this, but I just always want her to see the light and realize that Cody and Robin are manipulating her, but it never happens. And her loyalty is truly baffling. But you know, this is something Janelle and Christine have said about Meri. She's loyal to a fault, and we're just seeing it here again. And if you're wondering who I believe Janelle is telling the truth, and Christine confirms it during a confessional. She says that Cody was ultimately the person that was in charge. When she was married to him, the family was still together. If she wanted something, she needed to go and talk to Cody. Eventually, David does arrive home and Janelle meets him. Janelle says in a confessional that this is exactly the type of guy that Christine wanted. It seems like David and Janelle get along really well, and that's it. So that is it for Christine in this episode. Again, I said this last week. We know what's going to happen. We know they're getting married. It's just not that surprising. I mean, it's nice to watch, but I don't have a whole lot to say about it. You guys can let me know if you thought anything down in the comments or if there was something that stood out that I overlooked. Let me know down below. Let's switch over to Meri now. I definitely felt like we got more from her parts of the show than we did from Christine's parts. So let's talk about that. It is moving day for Meri. She is going to be finally loading up her stuff and going from Flagstaff to Parowan. Cody and Nathan are going to be helping her move. Coincidentally, all of this is taking place on what would have been Meri and Cody's 33rd anniversary. And Meri is just going to be laughing her way through this day. In some ways, I think she does it so that she doesn't cry, but I also think this is Meri's personality. I think when she is happy, she is a person who has a good sense of humor. I also think it helps tremendously that Meri seems to be ready for this to happen. Here is a clip of Meri talking about who she is.
I'm just laying the cards out on the table. This is who I am. It doesn't matter anymore. We're not married.
So Meri is in a really good mood, and I have to admit I am enjoying it. I've always said I have a soft spot for Meri. I'm enjoying this side of her. It is during this part of the show where we get that moment in the moving truck where Cody and Meri were very, very close. They had used that in the teaser for this episode. So at the end of the last episode, we got to see this clip, and I was really concerned when I saw it that Meri and Cody were getting very flirtatious, and I was like, oh no, don't do this. Like, Meri, why do you have Cody there? But it actually wasn't, it didn't go down the way I thought it was going to. Here's a clip of that scene.
Whoa, stop. Is this awkward? Stop. Is this awkward? No, I'm so sorry. I punch you in the mouth.
So when you're watching this, it's clear that Meri's in a good mood and Cody is in a good mood. I genuinely think he's just happy she is moving on and this part of his life is over with. But what makes it even more funny is that Meri says during a confessional that when it happened, her bladder was full, so she was basically close to peeing her pants. To me, it was just that. It was a funny moment. I was happy to see it didn't, I don't know. I was happy to see Meri didn't take this anywhere else, you know. The problem was Meri thought it was funny, and that was what it was. But Cody, of course, turns it into something, and he starts saying that it was funny, but on a matter of principle, it's not okay. He actually says, It was funny, but it was so wrong. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is the moment you have morals, Cody Brown. When you're laughing and joking about something in a moving truck and everyone's laughing, that's when it's morally wrong. Because now he is in a monogamous relationship and he is so committed to Robin that he doesn't want to have this sort of interaction with Meri. And you know what? It's funny, now that I'm saying this out loud, I think this is what Cody wanted after he got with Robin. He didn't want anything to do with these other women. So here it is. We're hearing him say it. He's in a monogamous relationship. This is inappropriate. I just think it's funny. This is when he decides to have morals. But, you know, it's Cody. Nothing makes sense with this man. A little bit later in the show, but still during this part of it, the moving part, Cody says this about Meri.
Mary's just on point today. She's just the wonderful woman that I would have liked to have been married to. Hey.
You know what's funny about that? Is Christine, Janelle, and Meri all seem happier. They're laughing more. And they look better now that they're not with Cody. Like, all these women seem to be better off in so many ways now that he is not there. And when he's talking about Meri, he's like, now, this is who I wanted to be married to. Yeah, because she's a happy person. Everyone likes to be around happy people more than unhappy people, and Cody makes everyone unhappy. So for the most part, the move is going good. Cody and Meri are in a good place. Nathan is there helping. Everything is going good. And then Robin arrives, and of course, she brings the tears as well as a gift. She says that she couldn't help with the move because every part of her would want her to stop. She is saying she doesn't want Meri to go. When she gets to talk to Meri and they're saying their goodbyes, Robin says to her, I know this isn't goodbye, and we will see each other again. But when? When is Robin going to see Meri again? Because Meri says seeing Robin and the kids is like pulling teeth when she's living there in Flagstaff. Is Robin planning on driving to Utah? They're not going to see each other again. That's ridiculous. And I think Meri knows it. Like, Meri is on to this. Meri, I think, has realized Robin is saying all this and it is not backed up with action. Robin acts like she wants to be close to Meri, but that is not how she behaves. So Meri's just not as emotional as Robin is, and Meri doesn't care to be that way. Meri says she doesn't want to be emotional. While this is happening, TLC gives us some confessionals. One is from Christine, and she says from her point of view, the relationship between Meri and Robin was very frustrating. Christine says that Robin had been manipulating Meri for years, and if Robin was really a good friend to Meri, she would have said, you're in a bad marriage and you need to go. I know a lot of us feel that way. Watching Robin encourage Meri to hold on to this was crazy. It was even frustrating to watch her encourage Cody to hang on to this. I will never be able to wrap my mind around what was in it for her. After Christine says this, we get a confessional from Robin, and she says that Christine really has no idea about anything when it comes to her relationship with Meri. But she really doesn't say much else. She gives us no substance. There's nothing there. It's just sort of a comeback. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. This could have been a moment for her to say something really insightful. She could have said, hey, I see Meri every other week. I text her every day. No, nothing. There's no evidence that Christine is wrong. I am siding with Christine. You guys can let me know down in the comments what you think. So Meri and Robin are standing there talking. Nathan and Cody are still moving her stuff. Robin is emotional. She's crying. And she hands Meri a gift. She calls it a junk journal. I don't know. The only thing I know for certain about this is that the front of this journal reminds me of the inside of their home that we all saw when they listed it for sale. Like, she has a certain aesthetic about her, and it is reflected in her home and in the junk journal that she purchased for Meri. I have a photo of it up on the screen if you guys want to see it. I don't know. This is just not my sort of thing. I know there are people that really like this, though, and journaling is a great idea. So hopefully Meri does find some use for it. Or not. Maybe she'll go buy a journal that is more reflective of her own style. I just was surprised when Robin held it up that it actually reminded me of her house. I mentioned that Meri was not going to be as emotional as Robin. She didn't want to start crying because she says that she has a happiness that she hasn't had in a long time, and she is not going to let that be brought down. Okay, that's a good approach. No one wants to stand around sobbing hysterically while they're moving out of a house. But then during a confessional, she adds this, and I just thought it was really telling. When it comes to the relationship with Robin, it's clear they're not in the place they were before. Listen to what she says here.
And I keep my emotions guarded, and I only share them with the people that I'm comfortable sharing them with.
Based on the timing of that confessional, I am assuming that Robin is not someone that she's comfortable with anymore, which makes sense to me. Robin finally leaves. They end up showing her in the car. She is crying very, very hard. It is a real cry. This is not a Robin cry where we don't see the tears or it doesn't seem authentic. At least that's my opinion. It's real. She is struggling with this. Meri, on the other hand, she doesn't miss a beat. She goes right back to moving her stuff, and good for her. I think her approach was fantastic. She was not going to dwell on the past. Meri was ready to move forward, and I think it's what got her through the day as well as it did. After this, we see Meri, Cody, and Nathan arrive in Parowan. They are there to unload the moving truck. Jen meets them there. We don't actually see a whole lot of them moving the stuff into the house. Most of what we see at this point is Meri and Cody starting to say their final goodbyes. And I have to tell you guys, it was so awkward and kind of weird. You guys have to let me know what you thought about this, but I'm going to start out by showing Meri talking to Cody, and he's starting to get emotional. He's starting to say his goodbye to her. And just watch this.
Always blows me away that you get emotional like this. I just don't understand.
Well, it's just, I'm looking at my life and
I really believe that she wanted him to say, I've changed my mind. Let's keep working on it. I'm making a mistake. Like, I think she is wanting him to do that. I can't help it. It was such an awkward interaction. And it's like Meri mistakes him being emotional for him wanting to be in a relationship with her still. He actually said, it was a good run, but I'm not going to let this get me down. Meri, he's sad because it's over. He's not sad because he wants to be with you. He's sad because his life didn't turn out the way he wanted it to. It's sad that he couldn't keep like a harem of women around and just ignore them all and only focus on one. That is what happened. He is not crying because he's wanting to be with you, but I sort of felt like that was what she was wanting. You guys have to let me know if you picked up on it, because it was just very, very weird. At no point does he say that he still wants to be with her. He talks about grief, he talks about loss, he mentions it being an end of an era. There's nothing there that implies that he is having a hard time because it's Meri, but it just felt like that's what she was wanting. It was very awkward. With that being said, I imagine it might have been more awkward for Jen and Nathan, who were standing over at the side, also getting emotional and trying not to look at them as this was all happening. I'm going to put in this very short clip. Cody is starting to cry and he's trying to express himself to Meri, and she sort of finishes his sentence, and the way she says it just felt odd. There was something weird about the way they were standing, the way they were talking, how Meri was acting. Watch this, and it's just a very brief clip. But let me know what you guys think.
we had something.
We had something really good.
As it goes on, he's still emotional. He's still crying. And then Meri talks about it during a confessional. And to me, it's just so clear she is still hanging on. If he were to call her, at least at this point, if he were to call her and say, I want to work on this, I think it's very possible she would go running back to him. I'm going to put the other clip in here so you guys can see it.
From, I do not understand it. I don't understand it. He has made it clear that he did not want me in his life. So why this emotion?
You know,
I don't know why she's having a hard time understanding it. There is no part of this where he says he is sad that she's leaving. He actually says he's happy they're moving on. He jokes about her being the favorite ex-wife. He doesn't say he wants her back, not one single time. His emotion is over the loss of the life he thought he was going to have. I don't think he is sad that Meri is leaving. I think he wishes Meri left earlier. If anything, he is sad over Christine and Janelle. But again, I don't even know. I don't even know if he's sad over that. I think Cody just wanted to be a polygamist and have the show. And that was the life he envisioned for himself. And it was working out for him to a certain extent for a long time. He got to be with Robin, go to that house, have some money that he didn't have before, and it was all good. But that's over with. I think he's crying that didn't work out the way he thought it would. It's not over Meri. I hope she is not getting confused, but it seems like she is. Based on the fact that she said, I don't understand, multiple times. I had to cut the clip down there for copyright reasons, so you're not seeing all of it. She says, I don't understand, like 4 times. There's nothing to try to understand, Meri. Just walk away from this. He's not crying over you. So that is it, you guys. That was most of the episode. You can let me know what you thought down in the comments. I specifically want to know if you picked up on the weird vibes from Meri. If you live in America, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you live in other places, I hope you have a wonderful week or weekend. I will be back next week with another Sister Wives video, so I hope you will come back for that. And if you haven't already, I hope you will click like and subscribe.